Growing up, I mean, we're talking when I was 6 or 7, my family used to sing a little bit at church. My brother was the piano player, and my dad and my mom and I would sing. And, I think at one point they may have actually stood me up on a piano bench to be seen by the, by the congregation as we were singing. But music, especially singing, has always been extremely important to me. In fact, when I got to high school, I gave up even attempting to try to be in the band anymore. That was never going to work. And I went to sing in the choir. And singing in the choir was my passion. It was my sole purpose sometimes for even going to school. I wasn't very good, and sometimes I would be a little off key. But I absolutely loved it. Science tells us that Mr. Blue Sky by the Electric Light Orchestra is actually the happiest song ever written. There is a combination of beats and lyrics and driving melody that just reaches into us and makes us want to sort of tap our feet and tap along on the steering wheel while we're driving and bob our head a little bit and sing out loud. Music just has that ability. In fact, did you know that there is a YouTube video of nothing but Mr. Blue Sky on repeat for about 10 hours? Now, that's a good day. But, some songs have this uncanny knack of triggering tears almost every time we hear it. Sometimes when we just think about it. And I've chosen 5 of those songs today to talk about. Now, I will admit it right here, right now, at the beginning of this video, I am a crier. I can get easily teary-eyed and choked up over the simplest of things. When I told my girls that I was planning this trip to Scotland and I wanted to take them and their families with me, and all of us go this time, including the grandkids, I couldn't get it out without crying. When I talk to people and try to explain to them why I felt it so necessary to go to Assisi and why that trip was so special to me, I cry. Unfortunately, I can't play you any of the songs that I have picked out for this video because of copyright issues and having my channel monetized, and I don't want any strikes against me and all of that. However, I will link to a video of all of them in the description below, and if you are up to it and if you think that it is something positive for you to check out, if there's a song you haven't heard before, maybe you'll want to go check it out. They aren't the only songs that make me cry. I cry at a lot of songs. But they're the ones that bring me to tears almost every time, more easily, I suppose, than any other songs out there. I think there are reasons why songs hit us so powerfully in the gut. I suppose sometimes it's the raw, emotional delivery of an artist. While it's not on this list, certainly one that can choke me up is Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt, a song that deals with growing old and living with regrets and all of that kind of thing. And I don't know if it's the song so much or the video, but it is definitely emotionally charged. And on the surface, I guess this sounds like a bad thing. And I don't mean for this video to be a downer. It's not a downer. I think that sometimes songs that bring us to tears can be an absolutely wonderful thing. It can be quite cathartic. So, what are these songs for me? I've blathered on enough, I suppose. So let me give them to you in no particular order. except perhaps for the last one. First up for me is Beth Hart's song, Leave the Light On. Now, there are a lot of people who've never heard of Beth Hart, and I picked up on her years ago, and I just absolutely love her voice. I think she has this gritty, growly, bluesy voice that just does wonders with a song. She may be the only female artist that I've ever heard that can do justice to Led Zeppelin's Whole Lot of Love. And I think that says a lot. There are moments when I hear Leave the Light On and I start to tear up. I don't necessarily just break down and bawl my eyes out, but there's a catch in my throat. There are some moisture that comes to my eyes. Something happens. And I often find it hard to speak for just a moment. Leave the Light On is a story about childhood trauma. It isn't for the faint of heart. And if you suffer from the trauma of abuse in your childhood, I would recommend that maybe you not listen to this song, because it might be totally different for you than it is for me. But these words nearly always get me. And she sings, "Daddy ain't that bad. He just plays rough. And I ain't that scarred when I'm covered up. I leave the light on. I leave the light on." Little girl hiding underneath the bed. Was it something I did? Must be something I said. I leave the light on. I better leave the light on. As a former teacher and a school administrator, I have too often seen the results of such neglect and abuse in the lives of those that I have been charged to care for. And this song just brings back faces of both girls and boys who faced such hardships. Now, not all the songs that make me cry are quite this morbid or as difficult to hear maybe as this song. As an example, let me give you the second song on my list, and it's from my absolutely most fabulous musical ever, Les Miserables. And that would be Jean Valjean's song, Bring Him Home. Jean Valjean sings over the life of Marius, a young man who is in love with Jean Valjean's adopted daughter, and it begins, "God on high, hear my prayer." I remember seeing that play and hearing that song when I lived in England, and my wife and I went to London and saw it on the West End. I was just absolutely blown away. But the lines in that song that punch me in the gut are these: "Bring him peace. Bring him joy. He is young. He's only a boy. You can take and you can give. Let him be. Let him live. And if I die, let me die. But let him live." The whole story of Les Miserables is a story of the triumph of grace over law, forgiveness over vengeance. And in this scene, Jean Valjean says, it's okay if God takes his life. He's lived long, he's seen enough. But Marius is just a boy. Take my life if you have to, but let him survive this night. Now that is a powerful refrain that perhaps only a parent can truly understand. I don't know. But it chokes me up every single time. And then there is Mercy Me's I Can Only Imagine. Oh my God. I don't even know if I can talk about it. In years past, I have been asked to sing this song at funerals. It nearly always has been impossible to get through. I don't even know if I can speak the words out loud in this video, but I'm going to give it a try. The chorus says, "Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine." No one can comprehend what it will be like when seeing through a glass darkly becomes seeing face to face. But just trying to think about it more often than not brings me to tears. The fourth song on my list is Janet Paschal's How Are Things at Home? It's an old song. Again, I've had to attempt this song at funerals, and it's hard. It's just hard. It brings me to thinking about singing this song to my dad, or to my papa, or to others in my family. And it says, see if I can say this. It says, "Summer's almost over. How time slips away. Seasons aren't the same without you here. And I know you're up in heaven, but I miss you anyway. And I guess I'm doing fine because I've learned to take it day by day. But I can't help but wonder, ever since you went away, how are things at home?" Is it all that your heart thought it would be? More than simple faith even let you believe? Is it bright and fair? And does the sound of children fill the air? And no one there is hurting or alone. And oh, how much I wonder, how are things at home? It still gets me. Just talking about it gets me. That's all I can tell you. And this last song on my list is probably the one that hits me the hardest, unexpectedly, almost every time at the same point of the song. And that's an old Randy Travis tune called Three Wooden Crosses. Now, they say that the prodigal son may have the best opening line of any story ever. A certain man had two sons. And in that very simple, short, concise sentence, it sets up for us a conflict we know is coming. We don't know what it is, but we know it's coming. A certain man had two sons. Three Wooden Crosses is somewhat like that because it tells us right up front there are 4 passengers on a bus headed to Mexico. There's a farmer and a teacher and a hooker and a preacher. And the verse lets us know right at the end that a tragedy occurs when it says 18-wheelers can't stop on a dime. But it's the first line of the chorus, I think, that sets the hook. Because it says, there are 3 wooden crosses on the right side of the highway. And why there aren't 4 of them, heaven only knows. Immediately we know that out of these 4 passengers, only one survived. But which one? Why that one? Is it the person telling the story? We find out at the end of the 2nd verse, and it says, and that preacher whispered, "Can't you see the promised land?" as he laid his blood-stained Bible in that hooker's hand. And then it just drives the stake right through my heart when it says, that's the story our preacher told last Sunday. And you immediately think, the preacher survived. No. That's the story our preacher told last Sunday as he held that blood-stained Bible up for all of us to see. He said, bless the farmer and the teacher and the preacher who gave this Bible to my mama, who read it to me. It tears me up every dang time. Every time. Now, a lot of times after I hear one of these songs, and I've had a good cry, and I've had my cathartic moment, I have to go find Mr. Blue Sky and cheer myself up again. And I think I'll be finding it right after I finish recording this video because I think I'm going to need it. So my question is, do you have a song like this in your life? Do you have songs that just hit you, that grab you, even unexpectedly at times when you think you're going to be okay this time, but then all of a sudden, no, it did it again? If you do, leave me a note in the comments. Let me know what the song is and who sings it, and because I want to go hear it. I want to go listen to it. And maybe next time we come together, we'll have something a little more upbeat. We'll see you then.